Hello makers and welcome back to the channel. In today's tutorial we're going to show you how to make this oversized duster cardigan. The materials required for this are linked in the description box below. Be sure to check out the free written pattern which is available in the sizes that you may require yours to be. Also be sure to join our Facebook group, follow us on Pinterest and follow us on Instagram. Let's get right into the tutorial. So to begin, you're gonna grab your 6mm hook and your yarn, and you're gonna begin by making a slip knot. So since I am making a miniature version, I am only gonna do a chain up of 20. So I'll finish off camera and then I'll meet you back once I've got my chain of 20. So now that I just completed my foundation chain, I'm going to remove the 6mm hook and bring back the 4mm hook, and into the first 10, I'm going to do 10 for the size that I'm making, but for your size you're going to follow the written pattern to know how many you need to work into. I'm going to go into the first 10 after blocking off that last chain, just like that, to begin the row. Into the first 10 I'm going to go in with a half double slip stitch using my 4mm hook. Make sure you have your stitch marker close. Actually, I'm going to do 5, not 10. That was 3, 4, and 5. That's what it should look like. Let me grab my stitch marker. And place it into that last stitch that we just made. Just like that. And then we're going to go back to our 6mm hook and finish off the row with our half double slip stitch. So I'm going to go on doing this, and I will meet you once I have finished the row so that we can begin the second row together. Alright, so you go on doing this for the remaining number of chains that you've got, and I'll meet you once we're done. So at the end of the row, this is what my work is looking like. To begin row 2, I'm going to do a chain up of 1 and 10. So to get the knit look, we're just working into the back loops only. So when you hold your work like this, you're going to see the back of those V's. So yarn over into that first stitch, go in with a half double slip stitch, and all the way down into the stitch marker, where we will be switching back to our 4mm hook. So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna finish this row with you. And then we can proceed with the rest. To make the half double slip stitch work better, you want to fold it downwards. So when you loop over, you just want to fold it downwards and slip stitch, as doing it like this means you have to pinch this so you can yarn over, which is really annoying. So I find turning it over like that helps me a great deal. So once you reach the stitch marker, you just want to switch back to the 4mm hook and continue. So I have just ended row 2. Now I'm gonna show you how to do this one more time, and then I'll let you carry on by yourself. We're just gonna chain 1 to now work, and then into the back loops only, into the V's, go in with our half double slip stitch. So since I'm doing a miniature version, I will only be doing 5 rows, and you want to make sure that the row ends at the bottom, which is going to be the same in this case. It will end at the bottom. So you go on doing this, remembering to switch crochet hooks at the stitch marker so that you can form the bottom band. So you go on, follow the written pattern to know how many rows you need to do for your size, and I'll meet you once I'm done with the 5 rows. So I've just finished row 5 and I have gotten started on row 6. The pattern will give you an even number of rows, and I'm going to explain why in a second. So for size small, for example, we did 30 rows for the front panel, and that is because 30th row is not going to be finished. You're going to place a stitch marker right where you want your armhole to finish or to open, which is I've just placed on the 10th stitch for this miniature version, but the rhythm pattern is going to tell you exactly where to place your stitch marker. So I'm going to get started on the 6th row, and I left 10 stitches at the top, and I will show you what to do just after you've reached the stitch marker, which we are almost at right now. Okay, there we are. So like I said, I left 10 stitches at the top. So what I'm going to do another chain of 10, because now what we're doing now is starting to work on the back panel. We've just finished working on our front panel. Excuse my neighbor, I think they're having a party. So I'm going to block off that last chain, do a chain up of 1, turn my work, and then I'm going to begin working on the back panel. So the back panel will be worked in exactly the same way. So how we're going to be working the front panel, this is row 1. As you know, I've done about 5 rows for this. There's 5 rows right here, but then for this miniature version, for the size small, I did 30 rows, so we would say. So what you're going to do the exact same for the back panel times 2, which is going to be a 60. But since it's an even number, it's going to end at the top, but we want to work our row at the bottom. So after you've done your rows, you're going to do another chain going down. So everybody's going to have times 2 the number of their front panel plus 1. So you're going to do, if you're doing a size small, you're going to do 60 rows plus 1, so a total of 61, so that we can end at the bottom. So since I did I did 5 or 6 for this, I'm going to do 12 rows plus 1, so 13 rows. So I'm going to meet you just after I'm done 13 rows, which is the back panel, and then we can finish off the front panel and move on to the sleeves. So I have just finished the rows, and now we're about to get started on the other front panel. So to get started on this, I am going to do the 5 rows as normal for the band. There we go. Put that aside and place my stitch marker right in there. And then we'll proceed with our 6mm hook. So just like we did earlier, we are gonna work up until the stitch marker, which I am already there. And then since I left 10 stitches up there, I'm going to do a chain up of 10. After I do a chain up of 10, I'm going to block off that last stitch and do a chain up of 1. And then from here on, we're going to be working the front panel again. So this extra row that we just worked right here will count off as the first, and that means we have 5 more. Well, for this size anyway, I have 5 more. For size small, you have 29 more. And you can follow the written pattern to know what the size you have left. So I'm gonna go on working the 5 rows to finish off the other front portion, and then I can meet you back so that we can seam together, we can close the shoulders and get started on the sleeve. So I've just finished the other front panel, and this is what my work is looking like. So since we ended at the bottom, you're just gonna do a chain up of 1. I've already done that. Grab your scissors and cut that off. We are gonna fasten that off a bit later. So now to get started on the sleeve, we need to close the panels together. So you're gonna lay them on top of each other like that, like so. Grab your yarn needle and you're gonna close off at the shoulder portions, just like that. So you go and do that, and I will meet you once I have closed mine so that we can get started on the arms, the sleeve. So I finished closing off my shoulder, and now you want to connect your yarn to the underarm portion of your cardigan, and then you're gonna go on around, I've already done that, placing single crochets around the arm opening into, or for the others, one side is going to be quite easier because you're going to see the stitches from the previous row, but on the other side you might have to look carefully just so that you can note them out. So remember, I had 10 rows and 10 rows on this side, so which means I'm going to have 10 single crochets and 10 single crochets on the other side. If you are doing the size small like I did, you're going to have, I think we left 25 and 25, so 50, a total of 50 single crochets around your arm. So you go and do that and meet me back shortly. So once that is done, we are now going to make a chain. Follow the written pattern to know how many you need to chain for your size. I will just make a chain of 15. And this is to get started on the sleeve. So to begin, chain 1 to begin the row, switch to your 4mm hook, and we will begin by a row of slip stitches. So you're gonna do 10. For this miniature version, I will slip stitch into the first 5 chains. Five, just like that. Grab my stitch marker and place it in there. Sorry about that, it's a windy day. And then I will grab my 6mm hook and go on with the half double slip stitches. So I will meet you at the end so that I can show you how we connect. Otherwise, for the rest, we'll be doing just as we've been doing the entire time. So I'll meet you at the when you've finished the last chain, so that I can show you that how we connect to the arm opening. So I have just finished going around. So you're gonna identify your next available single crochet, which is this one in this case, and we will slip stitch in there to join the row. And that's us joining the row. To begin a new row, you're going to slip stitch into the next single crochet, and that's going to count as your chain of 1. Turn around, yarn over, and you're going to see these 2 V's with the 2 slip stitches that you made. So the first stitch is going to go into this one right here, because that's our first stitch. So you're going to go into the back loops just as we've been doing. Once you reach the stitch marker, you're going to switch to the slip stitches and then come all the way back up. Once you reach the top, you will slip stitch into the next available single crochet to connect the row, slip stitch into the next available single crochet to begin a new row. So you're going to do that going around your entire sleeve until you reach back to the beginning, and then you seam it closed with your yarn needle. And then after you're done, you're going to do the very same thing for the other side. So to do the collar, you are going to have to go around. You're going to grab your 4mm hook, go around placing single crochets, and all the way. Since we left 1 stitch in the middle, so you're going to have 1 single crochet for the neck area, assuming that's how you connected this properly. If you didn't and you have a few rows, that's fine. Just place 1 single crochet into each half double slip stitch row, and you're going to do the same coming down onto this side. So once you reach the end, don't cut off, just chain 1, still using the 4mm hook, go around the collar placing rows of half double slip stitches. I did a total of about 4 rows. You can make yours thicker or lesser if you want, or even if you just want to leave it like this, you can just do 1 row of single crochet. So after you're done with all that, you want to cut your yarn, chain 1 and cut, weave in all the loose ends, and your little simple duster cardigan, oversized cardigan, is done. And I hope the tutorial was nice, and I hope you enjoyed it, guys.